Welcome back everybody. Today I have another great video for you guys. Today we are going to be racing at Spa-Francorchamps once again. This time it is IMSA's 2-hour sports car endurance challenge, as we're going to be taking this race today in the LMP3. Already early into the race we climbed up one position, starting from last place. The reason I started from last place was because my qualifying wasn't great. I was losing frames almost every turn and it was just too late for me. Anyways, once again we make another move. And we see the car right there spin out as well. As we're hitting double ligage, another car also makes another mistake. I'm not sure if he locked up there or what happened. Maybe it was cold tires. But let's just stay consistent in our pace and focus on our race. Now, this was only lap 1. And as we're heading into the bus stop chicane, there's been a lot of mistakes from a lot of these racers so early into the race. As we are exiting the bus stop chicane, we're heading into lap 2. Already climbed up a few positions. But we still have another 2 hours left, or more like 1 hour and 50 minutes or so, or 58. As we're heading into turn 1, we're already getting very close onto this guy's rear bumper, practically sniffing his rear bumper, sniffing all that fuel. I do take a peek before we go up a rouge, but we really don't want to go too wide up a rouge, as it could really cost us a race if one mistake happens. At least we're still in slipstream range, but we're going to go ahead and skip the Camel straight, as it is a very long straight. Onto the combs. Once again, we are gaining time almost on every turn. I believe my setup was designed for more turn agility aside from straight line speed. I do want to point out I also underfueled for the beginning of the 30 minutes of the race. As we're heading into the slow turn, we get a very close call.
Oh my god, I almost died.
As I said, a lot of mistakes are happening. So the pressure is definitely getting to everyone, but it's just so early into the race. We're back at the bus stop chicane, finishing up lap 2. Already lap 2 and climbed even more positions. Again, climbing another position right in front of me. Just a lot of pressure coming from everyone as we're heading into the Camel straight. We have someone on our tail getting all that slipstream, having a really good tow from us, but I'm still going to keep the car somewhat in the middle just to let them know I'm not letting him get that position that easy. I still have that inside line, so we're going to try to carry as much as momentum as possible even after not having the best entry. I am defending and attacking at the same time, since the car behind me also wants to fight for the position. As we're going into the slowest hairpin of Spa, we want to find places where we could get as much gain time as possible from the car ahead of us, as we see him go a bit deep and goes way a little bit off track. And he's not having the best momentum out of these turns as I'm gaining on him. And I take a quick peek on the inside and I could see him miss his braking zone right there. Goes very wide and very deep, misses the apex, so we drive that momentum more out of double ligage. It's starting to feel a little easy to get into these guys' heads, as it always feels like they're just mirror picking. They're always looking at their mirrors, so it's pretty easy to apply pressure to these guys. But the thing I always remember to myself is that you gotta keep your head down and remember it's still very early into the race. It's barely, 5-10 minutes into the race. We've climbed up a few positions, but there's no need to feel pressure, as we still have another 1 hour and 55 minutes to climb up even more positions. People are still gonna make more mistakes, and that gives us a chance to keep climbing up. It could be something simple like even going off track or making a terrible pit strategy. Finishing up lap 3, I believe. The guy behind me isn't as close to make a move, but the car in front of me does brake very, very early as I'm going into the bus stop chicane, and I lock up the tires right there.
I'm stupid. I'm stupid.
Terrible call for me trying to make a move there. We're going to go ahead and skip now onto lap 4, heading up a rouge onto the Camel straight once again. But this time in lap 4, we are already down 3/10 into my lap, and we're going to make another move on this Camel straight. But the guy behind me also has a good tow, a way better run than us. We're going 3 wide on the Camel straight, hopefully not onto the combs. As we're heading onto the combs now, the guy does get ahead, but my line is ruined trying to give space to the car behind me, so I carry the worst momentum. I have the worst entry and not the best exit that I want. But we still have time to make moves. All it takes is patience. Still a bunch of hours to make up in this race. You just got to keep a good mindset, as the car in front of us has a bit of a squiggly there. The pressure is starting to get to some people again. Now we're gonna go ahead and skip more into this battle on the same lap. As we're heading down onto the bus stop chicane, where the car in front of us thinks it's a great day to go to the beach, collect some sand there, and just completely loses control of the car. Another position gain for us. Now we are stuck behind the car that spun out, I believe, on the first lap during double gauge. So we have to put up the pressure once again. It is pretty easy to apply pressure to this guy since we've seen him commit a lot of mistakes. Now, I do want to point out it is January 13 as I am voicing over this now. It's been a month, I believe, since the race. And I haven't had time to finish editing the race or voicing over the race. So sorry if this happens to be a very, very late upload. I do want to point out, though, I'm already 2 seconds down on my lap, so I'm starting to improve on my lap times. Finally, the fuel is starting to lower even more as we see the car miss completely the apex as we took a quick peek there. So lower fuel, still kind of the same tires. We're still trying to manage the tires. Now, remember, I also want to point out I did under fuel for the first couple of minutes of the race, so we could be faster than almost everyone, or just keep up on the Camel Straight as well, since I have a really high downforce setup. I prefer to be quicker on the turns rather than gaining more time on the Camel Straight. So you said 2:14, but usually that's not my best time around spot with LMP3. It'd be around 2:12, almost a 2:11. Now, I forgot what lap we're in actually. We're gonna have to play defensively here, heading up a Rouge onto the Camel Straight. Because I have a high downforce setup, and you could see this guy just having the best run of his life and more high top speed because of my higher downforce setup. So this guy is just like a bullet down the straight. Overtakes me easily onto Lacombs. We still keep the car on the middle. We see him miss the apex completely, and that just gives us so much more advantage to boost our momentum. We used more track than the guy in front of me, so we have a closer gap to him. He went way too deep onto these turns as we see the rear end kind of slipping out there on these cars. Taking a quick sniff of them right there. So these guys are having their own little fight. I kind of want to stay back because in case there's an accident or a mistake coming from any of these guys, I don't want to be involved and the 2 hours are wasted. On double gauge, we see the green car go on the inside, so I take advantage of the gap and just put my car in there and overtake him as well. So that's 2 cars overtaking you in 1 turn, well, 2 turns to be exact. As long as we got the position, that's all I cared about. We see the green car in front of us again go wide, very wide. Now, he's not really green. His rims are green, but let's call it the green car. But now that we gave him a name, the green car, so far he's been making a lot of mistakes lately, which we know that we're into his head. He's checking his mirrors constantly. We know he's feeling the pressure. As we're going to go ahead and take a quick peek into turn 1, we make the move here, go on the inside, and overtake him onto turn 1. Now, I do want to point out this isn't the best move heading into the Camel Straight, because eventually he's going to have the slipstream. He's going to overtake you on the Camel Straight. But in my mindset, there's still a lot more hours left. Doesn't matter if we slingshot each other around. Sharing the slipstream would be amazing. It would really be amazing because we could slingshot each other up the grid and fight the cars on the podiums, hopefully get a podium, as we see a demonstration of how fast he closes the gap with that slipstream, how much of a bullet he is down this straight. Eventually, he doesn't have that inside line since I have my car placed in the inside. We carry the momentum onto the straight, and this is where I completely destroyed this guy's career. If we go back to what I said about him always watching his mirrors, this is exactly why you don't always want to focus on the car behind you.
Out! Out! Through goes Hamilton! Unbelievable step!
Well, there you go. Another position gained, and that's for the fake dive bomb. So far we are, again, I don't remember the lap, but now we're starting to overtake the GT4s, which is pretty difficult to do, but it's also very fun. Now, I do take a quick peek at my menu, and we're actually in lap 8 and on to 6th position, so we're almost at a top 5 here. We have gained a lot of positions starting from last place. We're closing the gap even more, and this is eventually where we have less fuel, but we're not setting the best lap times. So consistency during this race was definitely a struggle as we make another fake dive bomb on the same turn, and the car goes very wide. I see the gap, and then eventually I take it. Now, this guy did have a pretty good hit on the apex, and he did the turn just fine, but that exit was just too wide, so I took advantage of it. Now that's another position gained. heading down onto double gauge. We are stumbling across here on the Mustang. Hopefully he leaves us some space. As he does, we take the inside, and now we're starting to close the gap in front of us. I believe we are now in 5th place, going to 4th place, and then hopefully a podium, as we see the other car in front of us right there. So that is, I believe, 3rd place. So yes, a podium is certain here. We could successfully get a podium here. Now the Mustang here, not sure what he was trying to do. He went very close on the inside and stayed on the inside line, thinking maybe I was going to take the outside line, but that almost ended my race, getting very close to that GT4. We closed the gap very, very fast, and now we're very tight onto P4. Yeah, P4. Sorry, I kind of forget what position I'm in sometimes. And so they have to do the job of overtaking traffic. Now the GT4 goes very wide. They're letting us through safely, and that just puts us right on the rear bumper of this guy. So we're having the battle over life here, catching up to the podium as well. The podium is right there in front of us, the other yellow car right there. Get a great tow from the GT4 here. Hopefully there's no trouble coming down onto double gauge. We do kind of mess up our inputs here. We have to brake more than we have to, and then that we just try our best to carry as much of his momentum as possible. We always have to try to carry the momentum, no matter the car, no matter what turn. We want to follow the racing line as much as possible. Now the traffic for this lap has really been in our favor, just blocking out the car in front of us and being able to catch up to these guys even more, closing the gap and maintaining the gap, and stay as close to these guys as possible to remain in the slipstream. So the podium is right there ahead of us, and then the car in P4 is in front of me too. So as long as we get them very under pressure, we could for sure and certainly get a podium and just try to pull away as much as possible. As we see P4 get a chip of the grass there. Now they're fighting for P3 right here onto turn 1, side by side on turn 1. Hopefully there's no trouble between these two, because it would be so unfair. As we see, P3 did go wide. Now they exchange positions, and we see the guy that was currently in P4 switch onto P3, but this is not the best time to move onto a position. Now they're running their own little train over there with their own slipstream. I'm trying to get more tow off the slower car, getting it from the Mustang here, and now we switch it onto the LMP3s. We're going onto the combs. There's the BMW trying to block it off right there. Very undecisive right there. Super close to a collision there that could have potentially even ruined our race. But we still remain in the fight. Thankfully, there was no collisions there, no problems. So we go ahead, keep our head down, and keep fighting the guy in front of us, getting that podium, chasing the podium to be more exact. Now it's still very early into the race, but being in the podium very early, especially starting from last place, would be a great accomplishment. Now I am the car behind these two racers, so there's a lot of pressure for the car, mostly in the middle, because he has to attack and defend. Now there's no car behind me, so I'm chilling. I'm just trying my best to attack as we take the peak on the inside here, try to make a move here. We keep it on the inside, but eventually we kind of go way too wide. We send it onto the gravel, we go to the beach, and we lose our momentum there. But to make things better for me, they eventually end up crashing with the GT4 right in front of me on the bus stop chicane. And you can see the LMP3 go off track, and they're trying their best to rejoin the track, both of them. But personally, I thought it was the best time to pit since I underfueled. So I'm go ahead and go into the pits. Not only that, if they stayed out, they're going to be dealing with damage, understeer, oversteer, and I'm just hoping for the best. As we settle on the pit stop here, you get a little bit of a celebration going on. Sip of water as well. You know, pretty stressful race, pretty decent pace, but that was only the beginning. Everyone made mistakes. We climbed up positions just like we wanted to. That was just only the beginning of the race. The first hour, first maybe 30 minutes. So as the race progresses, we climb up more positions, overtaking traffic, trying to do it as carefully as possible. We don't want any mistakes coming from anyone. As the track changes weather, the track got colder with all the clouds. There was less heat onto the track, and I get the best news. Now, I was very confused, so I double checked to make sure, and for sure, I was 3rd place now. A secured podium, not sure how far the gap was, but all I know is I had to keep pushing. As I'm ready to get out of the pits to keep my lead, eventually they kept me back, not sure why.
What the fuck?
You can see me very frustrated, very confused as well. Not sure what really happened there. And looks like they forgot to put on a tire. I had the worst Ferrari pit stop ever. So it cost me some time. I went down to 5th place. But it's okay. Hopefully we regain them. They'll probably pit later into the race. Not only that, I do want to point out my fuel calculation was off point, so I eventually had to go back into the pits and get just one more lap of fuel, because if I didn't, then I wouldn't be able to finish the race. I was missing at least one lap of fuel, so I quickly went in there, got a squirt of fuel just to finish the race at least. And now, as we're heading onto the bus stop chicane, the car behind me, which I wasn't checking my mirrors until now, I let him through easily because I personally thought he was just a lapper. He was just trying to unlap himself. So once we're coming out of the bus stop chicane, I open up my menu just before the finish line to double check to see if he was actually my battle or a lapper, and I get pushed down to 4th place.
Let's do this.
So this is when I knew he was my battle. Also, the biggest mistake of my career, because I don't know why I would let anyone through like that. Now, I'm not sure if it was this guy's car setup or if he underfilled like crazy. We'll see at the end of the race, but he was just insanely fast, and I started giving up. I started losing hope that I could finish off in the podium after these hard-fought 2 hours, and it was just insane to me how much of, like, he just carried so much speed. Even on slipstream, you'll see during the come up straight, I wasn't able to close the gap at all. It was just insane. I don't recall my setup having that much downforce for me to be held that back. But you could see him just take off like a bullet, almost in every turn, every straight, as I set the first 212 of my session. Now that we're headed onto the longest straight, you'll be able to see how much speed this guy just carries, and it's insane. He pulls away right off the bat very fast. I'm not sure if I just have a terrible turn 1 exit speed, or it's just this guy's insanely good, but his car is just flying through Spa. He has some mess ups in turns, like going off track, maybe going too deep into some turns. As you can see me already pushing the car to its limit. I'm probably pushing past my limit myself. As you can see the timer on my lap go very far down, 5/10 almost. And we're just desperately trying to catch up to this guy. It's like 30 minutes, maybe 1 hour left into the race, and I need to do something about it. I can't lose my podium, and I really can't let this guy go. So I'm pushing the car to the limits. You can see me very frustrated. I'm not going to zoom in here because I really want to catch this battle. So my face is just, you can see me making so many like concentrated emotions on my face. 4/10 down on my lap, but eventually I mess up somewhere around the lap, and as you can see me going very wide right here. So the hopes of me catching up to this guy are pretty low. I'm starting to feel the pressure myself. We're about to finish the race, and I can't let it go. It's gotten to my head. I'm seriously furious that I might just lose all of my hard work after making a stupid mistake. After racing for 2 hours straight, it seriously got to my head. I can't let the podium just go like that. After climbing up from last place, I could seriously get a podium, and it could really look good on my resume. So this is exactly where I pushed the car to the limit and sent it on every turn. Improved my lap by a lot of tenths, so this is when I knew I was super confident of closing the gap. As we see, I'm very close, but there was no room for a single mistake in this lap. Now, I was very excited, and if you remember, when I went into the pits for that last drop of fuel, this is exactly what could have happened.